A small bedroom bathed in half-light, the kind that feels heavy instead of warm. A child sits on the edge of their bed, tracing invisible shapes on the wall. From another room, the faint sound of voices, not yelling, just tired tones that never soften. No one calls their name. No one asks how their day was. The child's eyes flicker toward the doorway, then away again. Vio. Neglect rarely announces itself. It's quiet, polite. It hides in the spaces between words, in the dinner tables where no one talks, in the hugs that never happen because everyone's too busy. They weren't unloved in words. They were unloved in silence. No one said, "I don't care about you." They just never said, "I'm proud of you." And that's the cruel thing about emotional neglect. It doesn't scream. It echoes. For years. Psychology insight. Emotional neglect isn't defined by what was done. It's defined by what was missing. No one tuned in. No one mirrored their emotions. Over time, the child learns that their sadness is inconvenient, that feelings only take up space. Research shows that children raised without emotional attunement often carry invisible wounds into adulthood. They don't remember a moment they were broken. They just remember feeling unseen. Children swarm across the schoolyard, laughter rising and falling like waves. One group argues, then bursts into giggles seconds later. But off to the side, one child stands alone, hands in pockets, pretending to look busy. They watch, study, absorb, but never step closer. Vio. Some kids grow up speaking the language of emotions. They cry, they get comforted. They shout, they get heard. But others? They grow up fluent in silence. They learn to translate pain into smiles, loneliness into "I'm just tired." When other children reach out for hugs, they reach for composure, because no one ever showed them that love listens, that it's safe to need. Visual. Later, the teacher asks, "Are you okay?" The child nods automatically. Their throat tightens, not from lying, but from not knowing how to tell the truth. Vio. They don't know how to ask for love. Not because they don't want it, but because they were never taught its grammar. They think love is earned, not received. Psychology insight. Emotional neglect steals a child's emotional vocabulary. They grow up knowing how to behave, not how to feel. This gap follows them into adulthood, where sad, angry, and hurt blur into a single phrase. "I'm fine." And maybe they say it so often, they start to believe it. The soft buzz of a phone hums over the dinner table. Parents scroll, half listening. The child sits straight, report card clutched in both hands, eyes flickering with quiet hope. They slide it across the table. All A's. Perfect handwriting. A little gold star drawn by the teacher. The mother glances up. "Good job, sweetheart." Then her attention drifts back to the glowing screen. The child's lips twitch into a practiced smile, one that hides more than it shows. Vio. They learn to be good, not to be loved, but to be noticed. They master the art of pleasing, of never disappointing, of shrinking just enough to fit inside someone else's approval. Perfection becomes their survival, a way to say, "See me." Because maybe if they shine bright enough, someone will finally look their way and stay there. Visual. Later that night, the same child sits at their desk, rewriting homework that's already perfect. A small mistake feels like a sin. They whisper to themselves, "Almost perfect isn't enough." Vio. That's the quiet tragedy of the good child. Their smile is their shield. Their achievement is their apology for needing affection. Psychology insight. Children raised in emotional neglect often build what psychologists call a false self, a version of them designed to be easy to love. They hide their fear, sadness, and anger behind performance and politeness. This is known as conditional worth, the belief that they're only valuable when they please others. They grow up mistaking approval for love and productivity for belonging. But deep down, a small voice keeps whispering, "Would anyone still stay if I stopped trying so hard?" The world outside hums faintly, a passing car, the soft creak of the ceiling fan, the slow, steady ticking of a clock. A child lies awake, eyes wide open in the dark. No shouting, no chaos, no bruises. Just a heavy quiet that presses against their chest like a secret no one wants to hear. They stare at the ceiling and wonder, is this what love is supposed to feel like? This nothing? VO. Neglect doesn't bruise the skin. It bruises the soul. It's not the pain of what happens. It's the ache of what never does. No one asks, what's wrong? No one says, I understand. So the child learns to swallow every feeling whole, until silence becomes their mother tongue. And the cruelest part? The world sees a peaceful home, but inside that quiet, something is slowly breaking. Visual. The child clutches their blanket tighter, not out of fear, but to feel something hold them back. They blink hard, as if trying to cry, but no tears come. Just the clock, ticking toward morning. VO. It's the pain of never being mirrored, of having emotions that no one names. So they fade not into healing, but into confusion. Psychology insight. Modern neuroscience shows that a child's brain develops emotional understanding through mirroring, when caregivers recognize and respond to their feelings. Without that response, the brain adapts to emptiness. Empathy, attachment, and emotional regulation grow distorted. They don't learn that feelings can be shared. They learn that feelings are burdens. And once you believe that, you stop reaching out at all. An office drenched in white light, computer screens glowing, conversations drifting across cubicles. Someone laughs down the hall. Someone sighs. At one desk, an adult sits, smiling at the right times, nodding when expected, saying no worries, even when everything inside them feels heavy. Their posture is perfect. Their tone is calm. But behind the polite smile is the same small child, still hoping to be seen. VO. They grow older, but the ache doesn't age. They learn how to hold a job, pay bills, answer emails, but not how to say, I'm not okay. They still crave someone to ask, what's wrong? And mean it. They still flinch when someone's voice sharpens, as if an old memory has been quietly waiting for its cue. They still apologize for existing too loudly, for taking up space, for needing too much. Visual. At lunch, coworker asks, you good? They answer instantly, yeah, totally fine. Then turn back to their screen, pretending to focus, but their reflection in the monitor looks tired. Not physically, emotionally. VO. That's the secret about children who grow up unseen. They become adults who keep themselves small. They wear competence like armor and call it strength. Psychology insight. Unhealed emotional neglect doesn't just disappear with age. It hides inside adult behaviors that look mature, overworking, caretaking, avoiding conflict, staying overly composed. Therapists often find that these adults are still trying to parent themselves, teaching themselves how to self-soothe, how to feel safe, how to believe they're worthy of love without earning it. They survived by becoming responsible too soon, but survival isn't the same as growing up. VO softly, because somewhere inside every overachieving adult, there's still a little child, waiting for permission to finally rest. Soft morning light filters through the curtains. 2 mugs of coffee on the table. Their partner wraps their arms around them and whispers, I love you. The adult smiles, the right kind of smile, polite, grateful, practiced. They nod, say the words back, even mean them. But somewhere deep inside, something goes still. It's not rejection, it's disbelief. VO. When love finally comes, it feels foreign, like a language they once heard in childhood, but never learned to speak. They can't trust it. They wait for the catch, the distance, the disappointment, the moment love quietly slips away. Visual. Later, their partner leans in for a kiss. They hesitate, not out of coldness, but confusion. A look flickers in their eyes. Why do you love me? What if you're wrong? VO. They think, you'll leave once you see me. Because they were trained to expect distance, not devotion. To them, closeness feels like a risk, and kindness feels like a setup. Visual. Moments of tenderness make them tense. They overthink small silences. A simple, are you okay? sounds like an accusation. So sometimes they pull away first, just to feel in control of the loss. VO. They don't sabotage love to hurt others. They do it to protect themselves from the heartbreak they already believe is coming. Psychology insight. This is the legacy of emotional neglect, the way it quietly rewires the brain for emotional disconnection. Neglected children often develop insecure attachment styles, either anxious, always fearing abandonment, or avoidant, keeping people at arm's length to stay safe. Love, when it finally arrives, feels unsafe because it's unfamiliar. They mistake peace for boredom, affection for pity, and devotion for danger. But beneath all that fear is a longing so pure it hurts. A part of them whispering, "Please don't give up on me. I just don't know how to believe you yet." A dim apartment. An adult sits on the edge of their bed, eyes hollow from another sleepless night. The clock glows 2:47 a.m. Their chest feels heavy, their heartbeat too fast, their thoughts too loud. They've seen the doctors. All the tests came back normal. But deep down they know something isn't. VO. The body keeps score of every ignored cry, every swallowed emotion, every forced smile. It remembers what the mind learned to forget. It whispers through anxiety, trembles through panic, and shuts down through depression. It carries the weight of all the moments they pretended they were fine. Visual. They sit in traffic the next morning, hands gripping the wheel. No danger, no chaos, but their pulse races anyway. The body doesn't know the difference between now and then. VO. When you grow up holding everything in, the body becomes the messenger the heart never had. It speaks in headaches, fatigue, tension. Its way of saying, "Please, feel what you buried." Visual. They press a hand to their chest. It's not pain exactly, it's ache. The kind that has no name, no wound, no visible cause. VO. And so they live in a body that flinches at softness. A body that never learned how to rest. Psychology insight. Trauma research shows that emotional neglect often leads to somatization, where unexpressed emotional pain turns into physical symptoms. Because when emotions are constantly suppressed, the nervous system stays trapped in survival mode, alert, tense, waiting for danger that never arrives. Even in safety, their body doesn't believe it. It's still bracing for the next silence, the next disappointment, the next moment no one comes. VO softly. The body remembers everything. Silence tried to erase.